Welcome to another episode of Between Two Servers. Between Two Servers is the podcast that doesn't actually take place between two servers, but talks about everything that exists between two servers. This episode, we're getting a little bit creative. We'll be speaking with the marketing team, Kristine, Sunshine, and myself, Karan, about being creative and how we've changed our marketing strategy throughout this time and how we maintain a level of creativity in all of our strategies. Here's the amazing conversation we had.
Hi, I'm here with our marketing department team from Konverge. So for those of you who are not familiar with Konverge, Konverge is a digital software company. We're headquartered in Toronto, and we build custom software applications for many different industries, both in Canada and abroad. We also have a few SaaS products as well that we'll be chatting a little bit about during this episode. Essentially, one was called Manisano, nutrition analysis software, and recipe copy software. And then we also have Field Eagle, which is an inspection management software. So between those three things, this small marketing team of 3 people, we handle everything for that. So it's an incredible feat, to say the least. So my name is Kristine Bellinger. I'm the marketing manager, and I've been with Konverge for 10 years now. When the marketing department started, it was just really myself. But now that the products have grown and the company has grown, we've been able to grow our marketing department to these other 2 fabulous people that will be joining in our conversation today. So I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves. So how about we start with Karan?
Sure. I'm Karan. I am the social media content producer and videographer, and I make social media content and do the videos and produce the podcasts and edit all that stuff as well. I've been with the company since, oh my goodness, it'll be a year in August. This is my first job in Canada. And so, I'm happy to be part of this team. We've been doing some really cool stuff. Can't wait to do more. And I'm very excited today to talk to everybody about, more about what we do in the team, and I guess how we've been changing things up since we've been at home.
Yeah. All right. Sunshine, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Sunshine Agu, and I'm the Digital Marketing Associate here at Konverge. I started about over a year ago, and so I assist Kristine in the execution of the digital marketing strategies for Konverge and its 2 SaaS products, Manisano and Field Eagle. So anything digital marketing, that's basically me.
Yeah. It's a little bit of everything.
Yes, exactly.
Whatever needs to be done.
Exactly.
Do it. Yeah.
From creating content to editing to newsletters. Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. So that's essentially the 3 of us. And we are fortunate enough to occasionally have marketing co-ops that come on board with us as well. But we are essentially the core marketing department of Konverge. So today, I wanted us to talk a little bit about our creative processes to start, and then maybe talk a little bit more about how, marketing at Konverge has changed since, this pandemic came upon us. So to start, now that, we started as these sort of, happy workers in an office where we could socialize with one another in person and talk to other people and have meetings and have staff socials. And now we are on our own working from home, which is quite a bit different. So I was curious to chat with you a little bit about, how that has maybe changed your creative process a little bit. So how is it that you find, different working in the office, working versus working at home? How does that, impact how you can come up with creative ideas and solutions to things?
It's a good question. And it's funny, it's something that I guess I think about almost daily in terms of how much at least work life has changed so much. I think it's an interesting way of working now, because before in the office, if I wanted to film something, all I need to do is pick up the camera and just start filming someone, or say, hey, Kristine, should we record something? Or I can walk to Sonia's office and say, hey, Sonia, can you say a few words to the camera so I can cut this up later in content? Now it's just, it's challenging. It is challenging. It's not impossible to come up with content, but obviously the variation of content that we had before has definitely changed. And it's not as easy as just picking up a camera and saying, hey guys, let's just film something now, because now I've got to, I guess, think of more out of the box, even more out of the box ideas of putting stuff on social media.
Which is working well for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
The things that we're trying.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I think the Instagram lives that we've been doing is definitely, it's pushed us. It's pushed us to do more different things. And the Instagram live is a good example of that. It's something that we might have eventually done, but now it's a case of, now that we've introduced it, it's almost become a part of our staple strategy almost. And I guess doing that every week, it's almost exciting to, when we go back to the office, to see how we kind of do it in the office as well, because that's going to be an exciting one, because we can put two people or three people in a room and say, hey guys, let's just talk for an hour on Instagram Live. If people want to ask us questions, they can ask us questions. If not, we could just talk about a topic or whatever it is. And I think that's such a it's a great way for people to get to know us, and also for us to get to know each other in many ways. So I think it's been a challenge, but I think it's one that we've at least from my perspective as well, we've definitely grasped. And I think the longer we're in this situation, I think we're kind of getting towards the back end of it now, but the longer we're in the situation, the more innovative we're going to become. But I think it's definitely pushed us to do different things.
Yeah, which is great. I think that, that how we've adapted to the situation is really good. Like you said, we're coming up with new ideas, how to reach people. We're doing, I think, even more listening to customers, listening to what they want, and, and how we can deliver things to them during this time. So yeah,
for sure.
But yeah, I miss the days when I could have a camera pointed in my face at any point during the day.
Sure.
Maybe not really.
Yeah.
That's
You're on your own on
that. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. But in terms of producing content, right? You can't just go in and take a photo of a meeting that's in place to post, right? You've got to, you have to completely sort of change your strategy that way as well. Yeah.
Now you have to keep emailing people to produce content.
Yes. Yeah, it's easier for people to hide, right?
Yeah,
you can't put them on the spot as easily. Yeah. So Sunshine, how about you? Do you have any thoughts about how the creative process has changed for you working at home versus being in the office?
I think because, for me, content wise, it's different, right? How I produce my content. So I think it's really interesting now that being able to find more avenues to communicate, and finding new strategies to communicate to our current customers who are actually listening now has been really interesting. I think because everyone's listening, we have these platforms that we can actually use now, and use to our advantage, because now everyone's sitting at home, we have their attention. It's really just how we communicate it and how we can connect with them effectively is
right.
It's interesting. It's
challenging. That's a really good point.
Yeah. Because now we don't have to chase the customers, because they're not doing anything. They're at home. They're at home waiting for newsletters now. So instead of, it's definitely different now. Because before, for example, for the newsletters, we used to, send them out at a certain time, because, we have to keep in mind, what time would they be opening it. But now they're at home all the time. So it's
that's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's definitely been interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if I can add to that as well, like it's interesting in terms of the way we used to post, obviously, social media, or just generally companies posting social media. It was always a case of, all right, well, this person's going to be, our audience is going to be commuting at this time, so should we put a post at maybe like 8:00 or 8:15 or whatever it is, like,
or having lunch, right?
Yeah, or lunchtime. Like now, it's just like people are on social media all day. Like, we don't even have to consider the fact that people might be commuting now because they're commuting from their bed to their table or whatever it is,
Yeah. So that's definitely been a big game changer for sure. Yeah. I would say like over, our digital platforms, its engagement levels are up for sure since, everybody's been, stuck at home and on their devices all day long now. Yeah. Which is great for marketers, right? But we also had to tailor our content a little bit to be, more like and more relevant. Yeah, we had to pull back the as much, I would say, selling. We were still doing that as well, but we had to frame our sales in a different way of either like how using this can help you during this time, or simply just providing resources for the industries that we're serving that is not tied to a sale at all. So we're definitely doing that a lot more as well. I know for myself with the creative process, like working at home, I think that like it's not a lot different for me than from the office, because I like in terms of like office distractions and working, I think they're really comparable for me working at home. I do have small children, so I'm kind of used to that. I always thought it was interesting, being a creative person who works like on a clock, like where you have deadlines, you work 9 to 5, at 5 o'clock, this needs to be done. You need to come up with a creative idea to get it done in time. And I never really knew how I managed it, but I did. It would always, sometimes it would be like, okay, it's 4 o'clock, let's do it at the end of the day. I've been messing around with this all day. It's still not, what I want. And all of a sudden the idea would just come, and then it would just be boom, done and out the door. And I think for me, in terms of my creative process that way, that is still the same. The idea is going to come when it's going to come. I always somehow, it comes when it needs to. As well. So I think, my creative process is fairly similar. So in that regard, I can't really think of too many differences between, being at the office and being here. I feel like, when I want to, bounce ideas off you guys, I can still reach out to you, we have daily chats, we have, our own, chat groups, we can always just throw an idea out into the chat group as well. So, in terms of that, it's kind of similar, I guess, just less face to face.
I think that's the biggest thing. It's interesting how, whilst a lot has changed, I would say, I'm sure you're going to ask a question about this at some point, but in terms of the dynamic of the team, it's almost like that hasn't changed at all, because like you said, if anybody, if I've got something that I want your guys' opinion on, or likewise Sunshine or you, Kristine, we can just be like, hey guys, what do you think about this? Because I mean, really, we do that in the office anyway. We have that Skype chat on because we're always all in the zone. We've either got headphones on or we're doing something, and we, the way I see Skype is that it's there for us to remind us that there's something to do, if that makes sense. So if Kristine, if you send us a message in the office, in my head, if I'm doing something, I'll be like, okay, I've got to get back to Kristine, or, if she's asked me a question, I'll come back to you. So that's that sort of thing. And it's there as a prompt for us to get back to you or something, So I don't know. I feel like our dynamic really hasn't changed that much. If anything, we're a bit more in tune with each other, if that makes any sense at all. I don't know.
We still joke around.
Yeah.
That's
we're still as, I don't know, comfortable with each other as we were back in the office. I think that part of it hasn't changed at all.
Yeah. yeah, I almost feel there's a little bit more of a bonding too, because like we're kind of going through the situation together, right?
Yeah.
And we do chat with each other, you know, about how we're feeling about things as well. So,
Yeah.
so I think, yeah, that helps with our group dynamic and working remotely. So let's talk a little bit about like productivity. So we talked about creativity.
I love how you just smiled when you said that.
Well, I was interviewed by my boss. You know, I had to answer these questions as well. But so in terms of like, you know, your productivity during the day, you know, is it different or the same, or, you know, from when you were working in the office?
I think I'm the same, like from the office. Like I'm more productive in the mornings than in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's still the same way. Like when I get up, I go straight. Sorry, my bed is actually like a couple of feet away from my laptop, so it's been fun. I get up and go straight to my laptop, but like it's work mode right away in the mornings. I feel like it's the same at the office. Yeah, I'm
mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the same too. Definitely mornings are my most productive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's interesting because here we go. Here comes the diplomatic answer. I kid. No, it's interesting because I guess like some days are better than others, and I don't know. I think I guess the short answer is the work always gets done. Is the short answer, but I don't know. Just like in the office, I mean, there are days where there is just that creative block, and you're like, "What is wrong with me today? Why can't I think of a sentence to write?" You know, which is when like it's days like that I wish I could just pick up the camera and just shoot something, because when it comes to video, I've never found it difficult to just get on with. It's the, you know, the copy and the, you know, the social media stuff that ironically I have of challenges with sometimes, because, you know, with videos, it's like, okay, I can make a piece of video like with, you know, with this stuff that we're doing right now, I'll have no trouble editing this whatsoever, because I'll be like, I'm going to chop this up. I think this is a good soundbite. I can do this, no issues. But when it comes to like social media, it's like, okay, well, what can I associate with this image? Like what is it that we're trying to get across? Like what kind, like, do you know what I mean? Like that's the stuff that is always a challenge to get on with. But it's a challenge that I welcome, because I'm never going to sit there and think I'm not doing any work today, because aside from the guilt, it's a case of, okay, well, I know I need to get something out. I need to get, you know, this piece of information out, or I want to get this kind of content out, and how can I do that? There's a challenge that I need to overcome. Otherwise, the next day is just going to be the same, you know? But yeah, I mean, it's, I think, like very much like Sunshine and you, Kristine, I don't think there's much of a difference. I definitely think if anything, there's probably a little bit more comfort in that I'm at home, and I think there's never going to be a time where I'm like, okay, I've got to catch a train, or I've got to leave, whatever. You know, it's a case of so if it goes over, it goes over. I don't have to worry about it. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it varies from day to day, but more or less, I think every day is productive to some extent.
Yeah.
I think I
find having a variety. Oh, sorry, Sunshine. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say, I think being able to, I think because we actually have tasks on our teamworks, I think seeing that and having like a list of things to do, that actually helps with productivity. Because then, you know, the second you check it off, like you actually have like that sense of like accomplishment. Right. For me, that actually works. I think having like that bit of structure actually helps with productivity. I think. Yeah. Karen and I were.
Yeah, I like having like a variety of different kinds of tasks to do. So like if I'm having a creative block, if I'm doing, say, a graphic design, or I'm writing copy, you know, I can switch over and work on something else for a little while. You know, if I'm stuck, I'm just not getting anywhere. So that way, you know, I'm still productive. I'm still doing things. We definitely are using our task software, you know, way more now than we did in the office. You know, to communicate, what needs to be done. So whereas before it was maybe more verbal, now we're, using the software a lot more. And yeah, I like it too, because, I put my to-do list on there as well. And then, I can just go in and go, okay, right, what needs to be done? What's the priority? Okay, there it is. All right, let's do that. So yeah, that's been helpful for me as well.
I think I completely agree with you about like varying the tasks. Like, for example, if I'm stuck like writing so much copy and all day I've just been like staring at the same thing over and over, just changing it up to like maybe graphic design, it actually helps like with the creative juices. Because then for me anyway, I feel like designing something it doesn't take much brain power. Whereas like writing copy, it's like I have to like really be in the zone and just like, so I think varying it definitely helps.
Yeah, for sure.
With you on that.
No, that's my savior for sure. So what about taking care of yourself, like mental health wise, or how do you what are you doing to help yourself out during this time where we're stuck inside so much?
There's the
question. Like do you have like so you have more time during the day now, right? So that's kind of like because we're not commuting to work and back. So I know for myself, like I joined an online like exercise program.
Right.
So I'm working out in the morning, which has helped me. I think that having some exercise has sort of helped me feel better during the day, get some more of those endorphins going.
Yeah.
But how are you, managing, separating work from home, because now your work is at home, or, what have you been doing for yourself to keep yourself sane?
Yeah. So I think we've talked about this before, Kristine, like, we've had a couple of conversations just about, mental health in general and how, I guess we deal with it. And I think very much like my productivity, I guess every day can be different. And I like to talk about mental health all day. So, I mean, for me, it's incredibly important. And I think it's so important for us as individuals to look after our mental health. For me, I think I'm still trying to figure out, I think every day I'm still trying to figure out the best way to deal with my mental health, my anxiety or whatever it might be. And I think, one of the best ways over time I've learned is to journal, I guess, and try and figure out and articulate the way I'm feeling. I think understanding what my trigger points are and understanding why it is I might be feeling low or I might be feeling anxious or whatever it is can definitely help the situation. But sometimes I think it's okay to just admit and accept that there's nothing that you can do in that moment. And there will be days like that. I think over time it's gotten a bit better. And like you said, being at home definitely helps. Like, since the weather's gotten better, I've been sitting in the garden, and just that in itself has been refreshing, not just physically, but mentally. Having the, it's a lot more quieter outside than it is inside. And it's more comfortable. I get fresh air, and I guess I'm definitely happier outside than I am indoors.
That's good.
So I think that's one of the biggest things I've been doing, at least whilst the weather's been better, is sitting outside. And if there are moments in the day where I can't think straight, then I'll just take a little stroll in the garden, walk around the grass or whatever, and then just get back to it. But I think that's probably been my biggest thing for that's been helping me, that and journaling.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, those are good tips too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sunshine, how have you found it on a way to sort of manage dealing with not going crazy, being at home so much?
I think for me, having that, so obviously like when this whole thing started, it was a bit of a struggle because adapting was, it was a struggle. So I think talking to someone that's going through the same thing that you're going kind of helps. So Corinne and I we talk daily, and just like, I think talking to someone, I think for me, that's the main thing. And also having like a one-on-one conversation with you, Kristine, I think that also helps, because then obviously when productivity is low, or like we're having like a bad day, it helps to have that conversation, and it lowers anxiety. Yeah, for sure. And I think even like changing location, like just walking. I know studies showed that like if you're feeling low, like just changing location actually helps.
Yeah.
Like it's like from your bedroom to like the living room, it actually helps like your state of mind. So I think that's how I deal with it. I drive.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, definitely from, the managers at Konverge, it was definitely a concern for us, like, how everybody was coping, being at home, and, mental health has definitely become, to the forefront more than it has within the organization, for sure. Yeah, I know for myself, like I mentioned, I joined an exercise program online so I could work out in the mornings. So that has helped. Stress is definitely higher at home just because of, I live with small children for my kids, and my husband as well. So, they have, they're small beings and they have big needs. So, so I found for me, like, on days where I'm the only caretaker for my kids, that I just had to book vacation day because it was just too stressful, trying to work and chase around, little kids. And then, we had to add on homeschooling on top of that. Right. So that's sort of one way I've kind of had to deal with that. It's unfortunate, but, just have to stop from going crazy.
That's interesting. I mean, if I can, I think because my wife and I were living, we're living with my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, and they've got a couple of nephews as well. And I think it's interesting seeing that. I mean, I definitely feel for you parents, because you can, there are times where you can definitely see, like, how are you doing this? Like, you've got kids. Like you said it perfectly. Yeah, you've said it perfectly. They're small beings with big needs, and that is such a good analogy of what the situation is. And there are days where it's like, how do you get any work done? And I know, there've been times where we've had our daily check-ins, and Kristine, you just had to be like, guys, I'm gonna deal with this. This thing, this thing has happened, and I've got to jump off, and it's just like, okay. I don't know how you do it, honestly.
I just know that I'm not alone. Every parent, that is staying home with their kids and trying to work full time is going through this too. And it's just, I know there are many, many people, going through the same thing as myself. So, we're not alone. A glass of wine at the end of the day helps.
Every single day.
Yeah. Exactly. So we've chatted a little bit about, ourselves and, how we're doing, how we're staying creative in this during this unprecedented time. Yeah. Let's chat a little bit about how we're doing marketing differently. Sure. Because this is definitely also a very sort of meaty subject. And I know everybody in marketing is curious what everybody else is doing right now. Yeah. So I wanted to chat just a little bit about, how our marketing strategies have changed, right? So back in 2019, the managers sit down, we create our business plan, for the next year. So we did that. We've got a plan, we're going to execute it. A pandemic hit. we had no contingency for this. Right?
The marketing
goes out the window.
Yeah. So it's like, then there was this big, like, okay, now what? Like, all right, so we're serving industries that, are really impacted by COVID. So, Menisano is in food services. Field Eagle is in oil and gas, mining, construction, custom software. Like, okay, what's going to happen to budget, for companies to get, the custom software projects done? So, okay, so what are we going to do, right? Our internal marketing budget, it also was affected as well. It was cut. Okay, so now what? What are we going to do? It's on our shoulders, right, in the company to be bringing in customers, right?
Yeah.
It's a big responsibility.
Yeah.
So what did we do?
Work with what we got.
So, yeah. So I think luckily for us, we're already, using digital channels for marketing. So for companies that, weren't, I think, they're definitely going to be a lot more impacted, than a company like ours, which is quite heavily digital. We have some, traditional marketing methods that we do. Unfortunately, our trade shows were canceled, which is really unfortunate. But, we chatted a little bit earlier, everybody's online. So, we have to, pump up these channels even more so.
Yeah.
Because that's what, what we're really relying on. So luckily for us, we get our products are SaaS, they're online. So, getting people in is going to be, similar channels that we're already doing. But yeah, we had to, kind of bootstrap ourselves even more so, than in the past to get what we need to get done. So what did you find, and I'll ask you, Karan, first on the social media side, what really changed for you, marketing wise, once the pandemic hit? So you were on a stream, before the pandemic, and then all of a sudden,
I think
you had to think of doing something different.
Well, yeah, this is the thing. The biggest thing that changed, at least initially, immediately, was the level of sensitivity that we needed to have across all the channels, really, because we had no idea at the beginning how it was going to affect everything. We didn't realize that everything would be shut down. We didn't know we would go into lockdown. People would stay at home and anything. And so we had to be sensitive. We had to have a level of sensitivity with, especially Menusano, because we were focused so heavily on food service. And when we found out they were going to be shut down, we can't all of a sudden say, hey guys, we know you're shut down, but buy our product. We had to,
yeah, exactly.
We had to figure out how exactly we could help people or how exactly we would deliver that message. And over time we started to realize, businesses started to reopen, but in very different ways. They were doing things that they hadn't traditionally done before. Restaurants were offering takeout, delivery. That was such a big thing that, we could leverage and help people with. We could say, hey guys, look, we know you're offering takeout and delivery. Have you considered doing that in a different way? Have you considered maybe looking at your menus a different way? Have you considered maybe looking at how you could offer, this service with Menusano? And that in itself was such a big deal for us because, things like we've had conversations around meal kits. Mm-hmm. That started to become a thing, a bigger thing than it was, previously. And so that, for us was started to become a focus. And I think, that was a big consideration. And, with custom software, Kristine, you mentioned as well, we're lucky that we were already digital to begin with, and we could leverage that. And we could say to our clients or potential clients, what can you do from a custom software perspective that would still allow you to retain your clients? What can you do to change your business with custom software? And I guess being lucky that we're in digital and being in the custom software business, we could potentially offer solutions that they were lacking. And I think that was what we needed to leverage. And I think that was what we kind of started to do. And we have started doing over time. It's been almost 4 months now. It's crazy to think it's been almost 4 months that we've been in this situation. And, we've been able to offer just a broad range of services and talk about different topics on our social media that people, otherwise weren't able to. And again, I'm going to mention the Instagram Live. It's another thing that we're able to do because, we can talk about things that, we've been wanting to talk about for a long time, but haven't had that, I guess, the opportunity to in many ways. And so, I think that is, it's been a blessing in disguise. I don't want to like, downplay the importance and severeness of what's been happening, but it's definitely been different for us.
Yeah, from a marketing perspective, it's like, right. Okay, well, this is cool. We get to do this new thing.
Yeah.
And I found too with our content that's going on social media too, like we're doing a lot more stuff around, promoting resources for industry people to help them get connected. So it might be, different kind of funds available to their industry, in the restaurant industry, funds that sort of help them keep going. So we've provided, lists of things as well. We've also been involved in the Black Lives Matter conversation and trying to promote Black-owned businesses.
Yeah.
And these, these are things that this is not, we're trying to sell. We're just trying to bring awareness and try to help people out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is something, that the pandemic, has caused a shift in our marketing. Because I could think, and also because we are, B2B, I guess maybe before we didn't really think about community as much. Like to me, I think, in B2C brands, yes, that you see more community, but I think as us as B2B marketers, that's kind of one thing, we haven't done a lot of.
Yeah.
So, and the response has been really good. Like it's been very positive. So, I think, we'll continue to leverage our platform in that direction as well.
For sure.
Yeah. So Sunshine, I don't know if you have anything to add.
I think I completely agree with you guys. Community management is definitely like very important now more than ever. I think talking to our customers more, like connecting with them and selling less has been really effective for marketing strategy. And we basically have to position ourselves to like what our customer needs, not what we need, more of what they need, show them our value in a different way in this climate. I think that's been really interesting. So yeah, and you guys have listed all the stuff that we've done. I think it's definitely interesting. And
it's been interesting to hear and see what other brands are doing. Like for example, how they respond to the COVID situation. Like for example, McDonald's, they separated their arches to signify like social distancing, right? And they got terrible backlash for that. Like they're like, that does not help the situation at all. Like that does nothing for us, right? And then they came out with this thing where they started giving free coffees away to essential workers, and then and everybody applauded like, McDonald's is great, right? So we, from that, our takeaway, that's just one example, is that people do really want to like hear from brands and feel supported by brands, but they don't want to be sold to in that same that same message, right? So that has been a takeaway in this, and and that we have evolved our strategy kind of in line with that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So marketing lessons that we've learned from this situation. One, contingency plan. We definitely will be planning for more scenarios for 2021 like in our marketing plan. So if X happens, then we'll do Y. Whereas I think as a small company, we haven't done that in the past. And learning lesson from 2020 is that that's something that we need to do moving forward. Anything, I don't know if you guys have anything to add in terms of like lessons learned from all of this?
I was just literally thinking as you were talking, it's interesting how, I'm trying to say this, but not as crudely as possible. The expectation of quality has definitely lessened. So for example, I'll give you an example. So let's say, for example, if just podcasts, for example, before there was an expectation that people would require crystal clear quality for, just recording a podcast, or the expectation of the sound, but even video, like there's now that benchmark has been lowered because people expect that we're not going to be together. People expect that we might be filming on a phone or recording on just our laptops. And I think that's accepted now to some extent, because they know that this is what's happening. This is the new normal. And it opens up avenues even more so than before for so many companies, especially us. We don't have to have thousands of dollars worth of equipment, or, the ideas can be off the cuff, and they don't, production values don't have to be 100% anymore, because now it is purely about what message we're providing, or the quality of the content, or what we're talking about. So, this conversation, for example, I'd like to think that another marketer could take something from it, or, people who are new to the industry in marketing can learn something from this, that you can do whatever you want as long as the quality of the content is there. And I think that's what I'd like to think that we're doing right now, is we're providing quality of content more than anything else.
Yeah.
I think that's
less quality and production value.
Right. Sorry. Yeah. That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's really interesting. Yeah. And I mean, I think I'm going to relate, with the creation of TikTok too, where you're seeing people are just getting exposed to like so many more videos.
Yeah.
People just taking them on their phones and putting them up there.
Yeah.
Not saying that all of those are quality content.
No.
Yeah. But I think like people are sort of, kind of getting used to seeing that. Even I just attended Collision from Home last week,
right?
Where all the speakers were, just in their houses, and there wasn't any fancy microphones or, but it worked. They were able to pull it off. So it's been an interesting change in that regard for sure. Yeah. But I really love how we've taken this opportunity in a way to create more of this kind of content, in marketing.
Yeah.
Definitely. So that's been a new, I guess, a learning, a new things learned as well. And then, thinking about, some of our other digital channels that we're using, I haven't really seen a big change, say, in our, our SEO is, still the same.
Yeah.
We're still getting business. Business is still coming in. Maybe the industry that is more interested in us has changed. Some of the industries that aren't doing so well, we're getting, different kinds of industries. So like, for example, with Menusano, there's more meal kits, more, food manufacturers, seeing, a little bit fewer in the restaurants, as a result. But, we are lucky that because we are a digital oriented marketing, that, we weren't infected too much. If the company is, not online, can't imagine.
Likewise.
It's really hard to transition to go from traditional marketing base to all of a sudden we got to get online quick.
Yeah.
That would be, very hard to do.
Likewise.
Because if you think about the years that we've been plugging away at creating all this content, we've had the learning lessons along the way. It's pretty easy for us as a marketing team to pivot and to do what we need to do. So, we are lucky that way.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think so today I was working on the social media reports, and just looking at the numbers, it's so weird that, like you said, Kristine, I think it's just like with SEO, the performance is like better than what it would have been if we were back in the office. It's so strange because, like you said, we've been putting more of an emphasis on community management, and I think that's something, especially for Konverge, that I've seen, is that we've seen an uplift in engagement, or whatever it is, and people are engaging with stuff even more, and it's just going to get better. I think it's just going to be interesting to see how that changes over time. Yeah,
it's really great. I love sending out an email blast, and it's just, a piece of content or, information, that's just going to help them. And seeing the engagement rate is like awesome.
Yeah.
So we will have to continue, using the lessons that we've learned moving forward. It's going to be interesting. Now we're going to move eventually into like a post-COVID sort of environment. Things are never going to be the same as what they were before. So I guess that'll be the future podcast for us. Post-COVID. Hopefully sooner than later.
How exciting.
All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps up everything that we want to chat about today. So Karan and Sunshine, thanks so much for contributing your thoughts and sharing your creative processes and everything. It's really awesome. So now we shall go forth and market our podcast. And hopefully other marketers will get something out of this.
Hopefully, yes.
So they will.
For sure. Thank you, Kristine.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to Between Two Servers. You can find us over on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. The links are in the description of this podcast. Thanks again for taking the time to listen to Between Two Servers, and we'll catch you next time.